There's only one company on the side of the sports bettors. In this world full of corporations looking to line their pockets and please their sponsors. That company is Unprofessional Breakdown, brought to you by BetOnline. And we're back to get you paid, this time using pressure gauges and a peer-reviewed journal. We're here to make money, not waste time, so let's get to it. First fight. After two unfortunate armbar losses, Jessica Rose Clark is looking to put an end to that, this time against Unprofessional Breakdown GOAT, Rowdy Ronda Rousey. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. Next fight. Brian Battle versus Gabriel Gifted Green, GGG, or Triple G. Triple G is 42-2, with his only two losses coming by Canelo. Now let's look at Brian Battle. Does that look like Canelo? A little bit, but it's not. I've done the science, so I'm going with Gabriel. Next fight. Ji Yeon Kim versus Mandy Bone. Now this is kind of interesting. Ji Yeon Kim, Mandy Bone, that's 3 syllables in both names. If you paid attention in math class, you will know 3 means UAV, which, fun fact, allows you to see everybody on the map. Now my question to you is, why would you have that on if you plan on camping? Next fight. Nathan Levy versus Pete. Pete, we told you the last time. We're not ready to forgive you for what you did to MMA's Twitter's most beloved athlete in Mike Jackson. We appreciate you postponing the fight, but it's still not enough time. We're going with Nathan again. Next fight. Carlos Ulberg versus Ior Potieria. I know what you're thinking. Why is Ior's picture stuck in a silent movie? Well, it's not because he's a time traveler. This is actually a spoiler, letting us know that Carlos has already beaten this stage of the campaign. So load the boat on Carlos. Next fight. Cody the Spartan Standman versus Douglas da Silva de Andrade. That's a mouthful. I got tired just saying it, meaning this fight is going to test the Spartan's cardio. Now I've seen 300, where 300 Spartan faced overwhelming numbers while showing impressive cardio. But they still died, so I'm going with Douglas. Next fight. Georgia's Carl William versus Chase Sherman. You guys already know how I feel about these fighters from Georgia. Between Marab, Roman, and Tapuriev, there's great momentum and inspiration pushing these guys, so I'm going with Carl. Next fight. Matt the Immortal Brown versus Court McGee. Matt's nickname Immortal came from him surviving a near fatal overdose. At the same time, Court McGee, he's also seen the other side before being brought back to life. So for the first time in Unprofessional Breakdown history, we're going to advise against betting out of respect. But just so you know, there is a good Highlander joke in there somewhere. Next fight. Tim Dirty Bird Means versus Alex Great White Moreno. Now, I've met plenty of white people before in my life, but I've never met the Great White. And something tells me an encounter between me and the Great White might go okay or really, really bad. So I'm going to leave that one alone. Next, oh, the Great White is actually a shark, which is just as scary as the other Great White. So I'm going with Tim Means. Next fight. Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill. I know what you're thinking again. Just because Angela Hill is from right here in Prince George's County, Maryland, where I'm at, is the first African-American queen to ever step inside the UFC, is a geek anime nerd like me, and overall the coolest woman to ever step inside the octagon, I'm going to be biased. Is math and science biased? I didn't think so. I'm going Angela Hill. Next fight. Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez versus Ian Machado Gary. This is where we're going to make our big money. Pay attention. Ian Machado Gary's last win was against Song Kenan from China. At the same time, D-Rod has a win over Ling Jingliang, also from China. Now, what do we celebrate on December 25th? You see where I'm going with this? Wait until weigh-ins to see if everything lines up, then load the boat again. Next fight. Anthony Smith versus Johnny Walker. We've seen this kind of matchup before in the past where one guy has a hard time growing hair in the middle of his head and the other guy has a hard time growing hair on the side of his head. And 9.7 times out of 10, that will result in an obvious draw. But then I remembered a well-known fact. You should never take a grown man with a mohawk and a goatee seriously, so I'm going with Anthony Smith. Next fight. Here we are at our main event. JAIRZINHO Rozenstruk versus JAILTON ALMEIDA. I went the extra mile in my research for this fight. I spent countless hours reviewing fight film, fight history, prior opponents, and martial arts background. I made sure I left no stone left unturned so I could give you guys the most detailed analytical breakdown that I've ever done in unprofessional breakdown history. Now sit up because I want you to focus. JAILTON ALMEIDA has some big ass muscles. And that's it. UFC Fight Night, Rozenstruk versus Almeida, Saturday, May 13th at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, United States. Good luck with your picks.